Morgan here.
Clean up. Hey, asshole. You've been playing long enough. Give me a turn. Give me a turn. Hey, whoa. You that stupid? You didn't learn?
You want another black eye?
But not Billy, right? Yeah, there's some thirsty customers waiting for you. I can handle these gents. Can I talk to you guys outside for a second?
Who the fuck are you, Mr. Smiley? I got some work to do. You've had this idiot grin since I walked in. No. So are you happy? Hey, asshole! Stop right there!
I just wanted to get you outside so I could ask you and your friends to leave the premises.
Oh, we'll leave. After I fucking kill you.
You have medical insurance?
Oh, haha. Yeah, I'm not the one that's gonna fucking need it.
Hey, Frankie.
Yeah.
Is there a hospital nearby?
Literally, who gives a shit?
Shut the fuck up and fight, asshole! To do this, man. You don't have to lose. You're gonna lose in front of all your friends.
The film opens in a clandestine combat arena located in a small town in Montana, where a woman named Frankie seeks out a fighter named Carter, known for his consistent victories. Frankie intends to hire him to protect her beachside tavern in Glasgow City. She discovers that Carter is actively competing in the arena and is pleased to learn that he has achieved 6 consecutive wins. Shortly thereafter, another fighter challenges Carter. Carter possesses a strong sense of pride and is convinced that no one can defeat him. However, upon recognizing Dalton as his opponent, he opts to withdraw from the fight, apprehensive about the potential consequences of facing Dalton. Despite being branded a coward, Lewis, who has just lost a $500 bet due to Dalton's involvement, unexpectedly attacks him with a knife. Soon after this incident, Frankie observes Dalton attempting to tend to his injury and offers him a position as a security guard at her establishment, Road House. She proposes a salary of $5,000 per week for a month, citing ongoing disturbances caused by troublemakers at the pub every night. Frankie had previously sought assistance from the police, but to no avail. A friend had suggested that Frankie look for Carter, but after meeting him, she decides to pursue Dalton instead. Nevertheless, Dalton declines her offer, recommending that she find someone else for the job. Undeterred, Frankie leaves her Barnes address and expresses her willingness to wait should he reconsider. Shortly thereafter, Dalton finds himself at a railway crossing while listening to a radio broadcast about a UFC fight. Feeling an overwhelming urge to act recklessly, he parks his car on the tracks in front of an approaching train. After narrowly escaping disaster, Dalton resolves to visit Frankie. At the bus stop, Dalton encounters Charlie, a young girl who works in her father's bookstore. Curious about his presence in the small town, Charlie asks him what brings him there. He responds that he intends to work at the Roadhouse. Both Stephen and his daughter are surprised to learn that someone new is willing to take on the job. Stephen then directs Dalton to the Roadhouse. Upon arrival, Dalton meets Laura, the bartender, and Billy, a waiter who recognizes him. Billy is aware of Dalton's past as a highly respected UFC fighter. Upon hearing this, Dalton feels a sense of satisfaction that someone still remembers him and appreciates the peaceful environment in which he finds himself. As night descends, he enjoys the lively atmosphere and music of the bar. However, this tranquility is soon disrupted by a group of troublemakers entering the establishment. It becomes evident that they have been causing disturbances at Frankie's pub recently. Dell, the leader of the gang, begins to create chaos by damaging property and harassing the female staff. At this point, Billy attempts to intervene, but Dalton notices the escalating situation and approaches them, instructing Billy to manage the other patrons. Dalton suggests to Dell that they step outside to discuss the matter, but Dell hesitates, preferring to continue his disruptive behavior inside. Eventually, they move outside, where a confrontation ensues.
Hey, asshole! Stop right there!
I just wanted to get you outside so I could ask you and your friends to leave the premises.
Oh, we'll leave. After I fucking kill you.
You have medical insurance?
Oh, haha. Yeah, I'm not the one that's gonna fucking need it.
Hey, Frankie.
Yeah.
Is there a hospital nearby?
Literally, who gives a shit?
Shut the fuck up and fight, asshole!
To do this, man. You don't have to lose. You're gonna lose in front of all your friends.
Rather than retaliate violently, Dalton opts to take them to the hospital due to their injuries, which include broken bones and severe bruising. At the hospital, Dalton encounters Ellie, a doctor who expresses her frustration over the disturbances caused by these individuals. She and her colleagues are forced to work extra hours to address their injuries. Although they could have called the police to prevent such incidents, Dalton believes that law enforcement would not take effective action, as they seem indifferent to these individuals. While Ellie attempts to treat Dalton's stomach injury, which unexpectedly reopens, he later returns to find Frankie waiting for him. She pays him his agreed upon weekly salary and offers him accommodation on her uncle's boat instead of requiring him to pay for a hotel. However, she warns him to be cautious due to the presence of a crocodile beneath the boat. The following morning, Dalton awakens on the boat to find Laura there with food for him. Laura praises him for handling Del and his gang, noting that previous security personnel at Roadhouse could only manage 2 days before leaving. Initially contemplating her own departure, Laura has changed her mind after witnessing Dalton's actions and now hopes for an improvement in circumstances. The scene transitions to a yacht where Mo and Snap confront their boss, Ben. Ben is orchestrating the chaos at Roadhouse with the intention of taking control of the venue for his own gain. He inquires about Del's whereabouts since he is currently absent from the scene. Mo informs Ben that Del remains in the hospital following their altercation. This revelation further aggravates Ben, as he had compensated them to intimidate the residents of Glass Key, only for them to be defeated by a bartender. Meanwhile, Roadhouse has returned to its lively atmosphere, with patrons gathering to enjoy themselves. Dalton observes the situation and takes the opportunity to teach Billy some basic self-defense techniques to help him manage the crowd. He encourages Billy to stay composed and not to fear the situation, advising him to step back, duck, and deliver a quick punch if necessary. Gradually, Billy adopts Dalton's guidance, which aids in his professional development. Conversely, Dalton is troubled by memories of his past UFC fights. He unexpectedly encounters Ellie while having breakfast at a cafe. During their conversation, Ellie gently advises Dalton on how to navigate challenges in Glass Key. She cautions him to be vigilant, as crossing someone could lead to significant trouble, noting that law enforcement may not be as helpful as one would hope. Despite this warning, Ellie encourages Dalton to continue enjoying life in Glass Key in his own distinctive manner. Later that evening, Dalton visits Frankie's room to collect his weekly pay and take a look around. Frankie expresses her gratitude for Dalton's presence during his stay. As Dalton walks home across a bridge, he narrowly escapes an attempt on his life when Del's car swerves toward him. Undeterred, he returns to the boat where he is staying. To his surprise, he finds Del already there, armed and intent on killing him. Del is furious that Dalton has interfered with his plans and expresses a desire to avoid future encounters. During their confrontation, Del falls into the water, where the legendary crocodile emerges and consumes him. An elderly man accompanying Dalton speculates that the crocodile may have hidden Del's remains, reminiscent of how it previously devoured his dog. He questions why Del was present and surmises that he was meddling in their affairs. Sensing something amiss, Dalton decides to visit Charlie's place to gather more information about Roadhouse and other locations. Subsequently, he realizes that Roadhouse's strategic location is advantageous for maritime trade due to the nearby deep waterways, which facilitate convenient docking for ships. Dalton returns from his meeting with Charlie to find Ben's associates waiting for him outside. One of them, Sam, informs Dalton that Ben wishes to meet with him. Sam also issues a threat, stating that he will resort to force if Dalton does not comply. Dalton finds this amusing and suggests that if Sam intends to be intimidating, he should do so more convincingly. He asserts that if Ben wants to discuss matters, he should come to the Roadhouse, where Dalton is employed. Shortly after the previous night's events, Frankie is surprised to find Dalton in her room and inquires about his well-being. She expresses relief upon learning of Del's demise. However, Dalton is more concerned about Del's persistent troublemaking at the Roadhouse. Meanwhile, Sam reports back to Ben, informing him that the guard has sustained an injury to his finger and conveys the message that if Ben wishes to meet, he must do so personally. This news frustrates Ben, as Dalton's unexpected presence disrupts his plans for the establishment. At that moment, Ben's phone rings, but upon realizing it is a call from his father, he discards it into the sea. Concurrently, an inmate at a Florida correctional facility contacts a hitman named Knox, seeking assistance regarding issues stemming from his son's behavior. In another development, Ellie meets Dalton on the boat where he is staying and invites him to a secluded location using a boat she acquired from her ex-boyfriend. They spend the afternoon together on a submerged island, enjoying each other's company. Ellie informs Dalton that the police have been unable to locate Dell's body and cautions him against interfering with certain individuals, particularly Ben, who is a prominent member of a well-known Florida family responsible for much of the city's development. This revelation unsettles Dalton, prompting him to request Ellie to return him to the pier, especially since she remains unaware of his true identity. Ellie then admits that she is aware of Dalton's real background and what has transpired in his life. After an extended journey, Knox arrives at Ben's residence. Shortly thereafter, Ben arrives and confronts Knox, who strikes him and asserts that he is acting on his father's orders. Ben's father has instructed him to rectify the situation he created. Despite his father's incarceration, his network of informants remains vigilant, consistently monitoring Ben's activities. Knox intends to treat Ben's residence as his own and will investigate the guard who interfered with his business operations. He assures Ben that he will manage the situation, expressing confidence that there is no issue he cannot resolve. Shortly after returning from a picnic, 2 police officers approach Dalton and request that he accompany them for questioning regarding Dell's death. They escort him to a location where he meets Sheriff Tom Lem, who claims to be the highest authority in Monroe County, particularly over Glass Key. Sheriff Tom urges Dalton to depart peacefully, warning that failure to comply may result in his arrest. Feeling uneasy about Tom's aggressive demeanor, Dalton is forcibly removed from the vehicle and assaulted. Just as Tom prepares to shoot him, Ellie, who has been suspicious since she accompanied him to the pier, intervenes to prevent her father's actions. It is revealed that Tom is Ellie's father. She explains that after her mother passed away, she fled Glass Key but returned upon discovering her father's association with Gerald, Ben's incarcerated father, who operated a fleet of rental boats for tours and narcotics. Her father now works for Gerald's son, and she insists that Dalton leave Glass Key immediately. Meanwhile, Vince and Sam are seen at Stephen's bookstore, planning its demolition. That evening, Dalton is already at the Roadhouse when Ben arrives. At that moment, Ben attempts to bribe Dalton into leaving the city by showing him a YouTube video of Dalton's last UFC fight, which was removed due to a tragic incident. Ben claims that Dalton fought and killed his close friend during that match, an event that tarnished everything Dalton had achieved. Subsequently, Ben bids farewell, after which Knox enters the Roadhouse and begins to create disturbances. Dalton eventually joins the altercation, but the assailants collaborate and inflict significant damage on him. Following an extended struggle, Dalton feels he is unable to achieve much further in that scenario. Consequently, he resolves to resign from his position and leave town, despite Frankie's assertion that he is cowardly for fearing those individuals. Upon arriving at the bus stop, Dalton is dismayed to find Stephen's bookstore engulfed in flames. He inquires with a firefighter about the whereabouts of Charlie and her father, only to learn that they have been transported to the hospital via ambulance. Witnessing this prompts Dalton to reconsider his decision and remain in town to confront Ben and his associates. Dalton then proceeds to Ben's apartment, where he finds Vince engaged in cleanup efforts. Dalton informs Vince of his intention to leave and avoid further confrontations with their gang. However, their treatment of Charlie compels him to return and confront them. In a sudden move, Dalton delivers a single blow to Vince's throat, incapacitating him. Just as he is about to exit, he encounters M.O., who, visibly shaken, reveals that Ben is currently in a meeting where he anticipates receiving a specific sum of money. The scene transitions to Dalton's last fight in the UFC arena, where he was competing for the prestigious heavyweight championship alongside his best friend. Overcome by emotion, he lost control and accidentally caused his friend's death during the match. Now situated on the coast, Dalton is overseeing the transfer of a substantial amount of money to the bank. He has devised a plan to intercept these funds and neutralize the police officers assigned to deliver them to Ben. Back on his boat, Dalton constructs a bomb as part of his strategy. Shortly thereafter, Tom approached Dalton and requested that he return the money to Ben. Tom explained that they had taken Ellie hostage and threatened her safety if the funds were not returned promptly. He earnestly implored Dalton to assist in retrieving the money before noon, emphasizing the urgency of ensuring his daughter's protection. Moved by Tom's desperate plea, Dalton agreed to help and pledged to personally deliver the money to Ben. After forcibly commandeering Ellie's ex-boyfriend's boat, Dalton made his way directly to Ben's yacht, anchored in the middle of the ocean. Upon arrival, he found Ben and Tom seemingly composed, despite the evident distress surrounding Ellie's captivity. Tom disclosed that Ellie's kidnapping was a ploy to lure Dalton there. He expressed his frustration upon realizing that Ben had taken Ellie without his consent and questioned why his daughter was involved in this situation. At that moment, Knox approached them aboard a stolen boat. Seizing the opportunity, Dalton detonated his explosives, resulting in a significant explosion. Amidst the chaos, he searched for Ellie, who was trapped inside a boat. After successfully freeing her, Ellie boarded a vessel where Ben was waiting. At that juncture, Ben overpowered her and attempted to take her away, while Knox pursued Dalton with the intent to kill him. Despite Knox's aggressive efforts, Dalton managed to grasp the boat's rope and attempted to throw him off. Dalton then crashed the boat, prompting Knox to leap onto Ben's vessel and plunge into the sea. Knox survived and made his way towards the shore, heading for the roadhouse. Meanwhile, Dalton narrowly avoided a harpoon shot from Ben and began to confront him just as Knox arrived, crashing his stolen car. Their second confrontation ensued at that location.
Looks like I fucked up your leg. Be nice. Me.
Dalton and Knox engaged in a fierce battle, each utilizing their combat skills in an effort to overpower the other. Knox was poised to stab Dalton in the abdomen with a sharp stick when Ben intervened, commanding Knox to eliminate Dalton immediately. Displeased with Ben's directive, Knox turned against him, resulting in a fatal neck break. Despite sustaining injuries, Dalton managed to rise and repeatedly stabbed Knox with the sharp sticks until he succumbed. Tom, who had arrived at the scene, implored Dalton to leave without delay, assuring him that he would take responsibility for the events that transpired. As the film concluded, Dalton was depicted waiting at a bus stop for transportation home. Charlie, recently discharged from the hospital, expressed her gratitude to Dalton for his actions. In turn, Dalton presented her and her father with a bag containing Ben's money before departing. Thanks for watching. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe for more of these recaps. Until next time, have a nice day.